And so this moment, this only moment, this moment here now, just to stop and be here, to be here, just as you are, just like this. Natural, empty openness. Does not matter what the mind is dreaming and imagining, just to be here as yourself. Not to try to stop the mind or create a mood. Just to be here, so open as the openness that includes everything and yet is not touched or disturbed by any kind of moving and changing, ebbing and flowing. Just to be here, awake, aware, empty, clear, natural. Recognizing the stillness, the still, silent presence that is always still, never moves or changes. The felt sense of presence. Just simply being here now. Really being here now. Hear the power, hear the beauty, hear the glory, hear the subtle resonance of remembrance, the deep, abiding peace of the being just simply being, the aliveness of the dynamic flow of that which knows only itself and is flowing in the knowing of itself. And you are that self. You are that knowing, the knowing that is flowing as aliveness, the intelligence that knows. Pure knowledge, pure and simple knowledge, the knowledge of the self, knowledge of who you are. The power is the unfragmented, the undivided, the knowing that knows. And hear the nourishment, the true nourishment of knowing yourself, of not outstretching into the worldly, into the play of things to try to find nourishment, but resting, deeply nourished in a flow of integrity, flow of the knowing of your own wholeness, that you have always been this wholeness. You have never left this truth. There is nothing to seek for or search for. It is just to rest in the stillness, in the radiant silence of now, and simply remember the subtle perception of the finer frequencies of remembrance, pulling the attention back in away from the sense perception that divides and fragments, and resting in the wholeness where the subtle perception allows an attunement, an ability to recognize the fine resonance of being, your whole self, your undivided self. Wide openness, a luminous radiance. Nothing is left out here. There is nothing to annihilate or destroy. It is in the subtle attunement with your true remembrance of your integral wholeness that any falseness, any misunderstanding naturally falls away. And the remembrance that you are not the person divided and apart from, that all that you are is all that you are. You are an integral wholeness. It is only the mind's thinking that divides. Without the mind, without memory, without past and constant referencing, the remembrance of fear. Who are you? Without that habit to reference the past, without that habit to need to know and create a context where you draw information from the limited remembrance of the fears of the past, allowing those fears to stop you being yourself. Here now, in the power of now. Who are you without referencing the fears, without referencing the ideas of limitation? Just to feel the power and wholeness of yourself, undivided, wide openness. It is in this remembrance that there is a natural openness to receive all that you have imagined yourself to be. And in truth, in this openness, so too are the mind's meanderings welcome. But they no longer have the power to capsize you into fear when you are in the clear remembrance of the resonance of the wide open heart of love that you are. And even a temporary seeming capsizing can be the incredible possibility of transmuting an idea of limitation back into the remembrance of the unlimited. That the whole play of life is offering this possibility for the belief in limitation to be naturally unwound into the remembrance of the wholeness that has never been divided. And this naturally happens in the remembrance of who you are in your fullness, in integrity, the love that you are, the power that you are, that nothing or no one can take or has ever taken that from you. And so in this moment, it is to let collapse all ideas, to let collapse all paths, all ways, all techniques, all practices, to have the willingness to completely empty, to delete everything, clear slate, and then see what this moment actually is. It is not that things that have brought you joy and support and aliveness will not be here as part of this moment. But it's to let go of the hanging on, the nostalgias, the habits, and let this moment be fresh. Be fresh. Have no idea. Allow spontaneity to arise, because you're not holding on to the edges of the past, and you're not holding on to the edges of the fears and stories of who you are. When we truly come to this willingness to empty, to really see who are you without content, who are you? If we empty this moment of all of the beliefs and concepts, to realize you are still here, but you are empty, you are pure knowledge. The only knowing that is here is the knowing of yourself, just as you are, fresh and raw and open, natural. That in truth you are a wide open, resonant field of light. You are utterly free, you are unlimited, pure, wide, dancing love, luminosity, radiance. There is nothing holding you back, nothing restricting you. And in this felt sense of remembrance, the recognition can then come. Well, what does restrict you? What does hold you back? And the ability to see that you are the only thing here, only the self, only you, and only you can limit yourself. You are the creator of limitation. You are the creator of everything that arises on the screen. And the invitation is to see that in the purity and light of how the mind, when dancing in fear, limitation, the belief in lack, the belief I've done something wrong, the willingness to be so present and illuminating, to see how often we are stuck in a belief that you are doing something wrong, that you've done something wrong. It's incredible how easy it is to get stuck in this one belief. And this one belief is the human condition. It is the story of lack. It is the belief in deficiency. And to see this, to illuminate this, and to open to all of the feelings, sensations, everything that is associated with being stuck in the belief that I've done something wrong. There is something wrong with me. Or it could be wrong has been done to me. Something has been taken from me. And when we are identified with this belief, we are moving from here. We're creating from here. The consciousness that is limited is creating a picture to create a reflection of the belief in limitation, not so that life is miserable, but so that we can receive the reflection, meet all of the feelings, all of the associations with this belief, and allow such an open welcoming, because simultaneously we are in a deeper knowing of our purity, a deeper knowing of the innocence that has never been touched or tainted, in the deeper knowing of the love that you are. And it is the presence of this love that allows these stories, these holding places, to be welcomed and to unwind, alchemize out of the sense of limitation and into the remembrance of being unlimited, wild freedom, pure power. Now, of course, we can say, let go of beliefs, let go of limitations. But there's a sense, well, they come back in again. But the more that we recognize in this moment, this now, this only holy now, the power and presence of your wholeness, that nothing can rob you of yourself. Nothing has the power to take you away from yourself. Nothing has the power to diminish you unless you identify and give power to that, right? So in a way, this whole unfolding is about returning to the presence of now. You've never really left, but you have imagined that you have. And it is to see that you can return your attention to the power and presence of now. You can return to the remembrance of your own wholeness. You already are. You have never left. Nothing has ever taken your integrity away. Nothing has ever come into the field of wholeness and diminished the absolute integral radiance of what you are. And this integral radiance is the power, the glory of divinity. It is purity. It is your purity. And in the remembrance of this, purification happens in the presence of the remembrance of the absolute purity that you are. We could say that you purify in your own purity. You remember love in the remembrance of the love that you are. That in the remembrance of the power that you are, the incredible capacity you have for true healing, transmutation. And in a way, the healing is not a journey of fixing. True healing is the spontaneous seeing that you are absolutely not broken and that the story of limitation is not reality, that you have never been broken, damaged. You have never been anything less than whole. Never. And true healing happens in the remembrance of this. And of course, there can be residues that will keep springing forth. And every time there seems to be residues that spring forth, it is to meet whatever seems to be moving and changing as the light of integral wholeness, as the power that knows that you cannot be diminished and you have not been diminished, that you don't have to act out the sense of brokenness. Not anymore. Not anymore. This moment is the holy moment. This moment is the moment to truly be here so fully. In being here so fully for yourself, with yourself, as yourself, there is a spontaneous letting go that happens. Letting go is not a doing. And we know so well that we cannot follow an instruction to let go, because it is not an instruction for the mind to take action. True pointing is an invitation that is the powerful resonant transmission of attunement, of alignment, of remembrance, of being here so fully, to realize on a certain level how sick you are of yourself and your story, how bored you are of the repeating drama. How you would so love for that cycle to just disappear. But it does not disappear with the mind wanting. It is in the resting so fully in what is that the disappearance of the energy, the engine that is constantly repeating and bringing forward that same repeating stuff that can be so sick of, can feel so sick of yourself, so tired of the constant mind chatter, misery, sorrow, criticism. But it is not in creating antagonism within this field. It is recognizing you are not that. In this moment, you are utterly free of that. If there is no identification with that story, you can directly experience freedom from that and be so bright and ready for the next thought to come in that says, yeah, but give me 5 minutes. Yeah, but it'll come back again. And see, where is that voice coming from? Are you going to believe that voice? Or are you going to rest in the integrity of your knowing? How easy is it for that meanie voice, that unkind, critical voice that you are so sick of, to just grab the attention again? You cannot stop it. You can only fully welcome it. You can only fully welcome it when you are the absolute luminous radiance of a welcoming that is absolutely entire and integral and is not seeing from division. If you are moving from any place that labels or divides that voice, then that divider, that voice that divides, will still keep dividing, right? It is to draw back into yourself even more fully, to illuminate and see that mechanism from the integral wholeness of the undivided. Because only when the welcoming is entire, when the welcoming is pure compassion, when the welcoming is the love that you are, that is pure, only when the welcoming is truly an undivided, non-judgmental, unopinionated clarity, does this voice that has plagued you finally let go of its need to keep holding the protection that believes I am separate, I am divided, I am not good enough, I am not worthy or lovable, somehow I am broken, there is something wrong with me. Only when there is a knowing, an absolute knowing remembrance of your goodness, of your wholeness, nothing outside can tell you enough times how good you are, how beautiful you are, how precious you are, how you are one with the glory of God, how you are innocent and beloved, how you are pure and whole and radiant. The resonance can bring an attunement, but only when you accept this truth in your own heart, because the knowing is so pure that it pierces through the protection, and you actually feel the resonance of this truth. And in the recognition of this resonance, that it pierces the protection that says, no, 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 not you, not you. Actually, yeah, not you, not you. That it pierces through even that, and you feel a resonance, a recognition, a resonance, a recognition of your power, the power, we could say, of your innocence, the power of the innocence that has never done anything wrong, and that you can feel, oh, this is the truth of who I am. This is the innocence that is being pointed to. But only within your own internal functioning can you reclaim the remembrance of your own power. No one can give this to you. However bright and brilliant the promise may seem, no one can give this to you. You can only accept yourself fully. And as you accept yourself fully, it is even possible for threads and residues to still need to transmute. But in a deep rooted power of knowing who you are, that you can never be capsized. Nothing of the world can take you from yourself. Nothing has ever taken you from yourself. And the knowing of this is inside you. The knowing is already here. And it is about reconnecting, realigning with this knowing in such a pure way that you can really feel the resonance of the light that you are and rest in an unquestionable knowing that is pure power, so that when the words come, you have never done anything wrong. That you can feel the stirring in your heart. You have never done anything wrong. What happens? Does that bring a resonance, a recognition, or does it bring a stirring that says, oh, I have, right? This is the opportunity. It doesn't matter what happens, just notice. You have never done anything wrong. You are perfection. You are wholeness. You are integrity. Naturally, you are integrity. Can you feel the resonance of truth inside your functioning that knows this? And or can you feel the part that wants to resist this? So of course, if you feel the resonance of this knowing, then resting right here, feel the power, the nourishment, the aliveness of this pure knowledge. And if there is something that wants to resist, allow the sensations, allow the wisdom of this place to speak. Allow there to be an expression. What have you done wrong? What is wrong with you? What do you believe about yourself? Just to notice. Everything is welcome here. Notice that there is the unconditional welcoming here, because the part of you that knows this truth is welcoming any possible part that wants to resist this. Welcome anything that wants to bring itself forward in this moment into this love, into this remembrance that it is okay. It is okay. Whatever is believed, it is okay. To just allow any feelings to be here. Allow the sensations, allow the words, allow whatever is arising to be here and to be held in the presence of a love that truly, truly sees and hears this part of you. Because here we meet the sense of duality. We meet within the internal functioning. Oh, this is where it seems to be two. This is where it seems to be that there is this wholeness that knows without question. And here is the place that believes that something is lacking. Somehow I'm not deserving. Somehow there is something wrong. Just to allow the upwelling of anything that wants to come forward. Because here, this incredible opportunity to love yourself, can you meet yourself here? Can you see yourself here? Can you truly receive and listen to this young part of yourself, this protected part of yourself? Can all of the natural expression be allowed to come forward? And of course, if there is a natural sense of protection, it's just to allow the wisdom of this moment to be exactly as it is. Allowing the unwinding, allowing the honesty, allowing this moment in its openness to be integral and whole, that everything is welcome here. Everything, all that you are. Because the deepest knowing is of that which is untouched, that which is whole. The purity, the innocence that you are beckons and calls the fibers and threads of these places that believe you are less than. But the part that knows is not touched, is not disturbed. The integral wholeness can recognize, yes, the integral wholeness is whole, is not disturbed, and yet welcomes anything and everything that wants to come forward. Everything is held because this wholeness knows that wholeness includes anything and everything, however it dances, whatever color or shape it takes. It's welcome. It's welcome. Wholeness does not divide. Wholeness does not push away. It remains integrally whole because of this knowing, this power, this remembrance. So as we come to deeper, finer resonances of this wholeness, it actually beckons forth any places that seem to not be in this remembrance. It is not out of place. It is not that something wrong is happening. It is the incredible intelligence that the deeper we get rooted in this remembrance. Anything that is holding a belief will be invited into the light, into the love, in order to illuminate. You have not done anything wrong, ever. We could say, because this is an impersonal dance, the only doer is life itself. Life dances, it moves and changes, it ebbs and flows. Mm. Mm. So we open to our own openness, such an openness, such a brightness, that where love is, purification happens. Purification happens in the presence of your own purity. So what feels to be discordant and limited opens and unwinds naturally in the presence of the remembrance of the unlimited, impersonal. And as this natural flow of intelligence moves, there's the recognition that when feelings and sensations come forward that are held in this belief in division, in the belief that I have done something wrong, there is something wrong with me, that I am somehow broken or lacking, that the feelings that come feel intensely personal. Intensely personal. So it's not to overlay an idea that says, oh, no, 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 it's all impersonal. It's true. You are the impersonal. But when the feelings feel intensely personal, it is to open as the impersonal, allowing naturalness that welcomes the feelings to be here exactly as they are, to not try to change or push away with new labels, but for the welcoming to be so full. It doesn't matter. The feelings are discordant energies, tensions, stresses that are held in the nervous system. And in their own natural, wise timing, we could say, there is a releasing of these energies from the nervous system, like an unblocking of something that has been obscuring the full flow of life, the full flow. And what acts as the purifier is your own purity. What acts as that which brings remembrance, that which brings the courage to come forward, is the love that you are, the knowing of the wholeness, the love that you are. It allows the purification and the releasing of stresses in the nervous system, holding patterns, of limitation to move, unwind, transmute, and remember, oh, that was just a story. It's like knowing the story from the inside, the felt sense of being attached with it, the belief, I've done something wrong, and being burdened by it. Something's wrong with me, like a secret. And the difference that comes around as the stress releases is that there's a seeing it. Oh, I was believing the story. I couldn't see it. So you can't see it when you're in it. But as the releasing happens, there's a seeing of it from the impersonal, right? So we move from the feeling of the personal, feeling like it's a secret, a hiding place. And as the releasing happens, they're seeing it from the impersonal, from the unlimited. Oh, that's what was happening. And of course, then the rebalancing, the reharmonizing, the kind of sense of integration has to happen. So much patience and kindness, so much natural open spaciousness for all of this purification to happen. And all the while, here, in the presence and power of now, the integrity and wholeness that you are has never moved or changed. The integrity and power of the wholeness just deepens. This is who you are. This is your silent depth. This is your innocence, your clarity. This is the truth that cannot be spoken, that can only be known in the resonance of remembrance. Remembering this presence of being, the stillness, the silence. Hear the wholeness, hear the radiance, hear the being that is just resting in the knowing of itself. Does not matter to the being what is happening. And to know this deep silent sanctuary of your true wholeness that allows whatever residues need to purify to be so truly welcomed. No labels, no need to understand. It is that these places have to be met with no separation. Because that repeating voice that we are so sick of, right? That voice that just keeps churning and churning. It is the voice of separation, of protection, keeping itself alive, keeping that story running. You are broken, you are not worthy, you're not fixable. Look at your life, look at how your life, look at the things that are hard, right? See? It becomes like this self-fulfilling prophecy. The thinking and the thinking, the believing, the identification starts to create the appearance. But that appearance, when it is received in this integral wholeness that says, whoa there, whoa, let's stop. Let's recognize what's truly happening in this moment. When the power and the presence of your true essential nature illuminates this moment, recognizes, I am the power and presence and openness of this moment. I am not the story. I am not the beliefs or protections. Here, what I am is independent freedom, clarity, the presence of being that is untouched, the innocence and radiance and openness. This allows that whatever is appearing on the screen can be welcomed into this now. Nothing to push away, nothing to resist. Everything is welcome, but it's welcome from a true perspective. You can feel that in truth you are empty of content. You are clear and bright and free. And any content that is here is just offering an image. If the image pulls the attention, see it and feel the power. Oh, it's just a mirror. It's showing me something, right? It's showing me something. It cannot capsize me. I know who I am. I know what I am. I know what is true. I see the image. I feel the sensations. I feel the charge. I feel the trigger. But it cannot touch the truth of who I am, right? I know it's a mirror. I know it's a play. I know these are old feelings. I know this is old stress releasing. And so I can hold an absolute impersonal open space for whatever is moving here. I can welcome even the deepest feelings of deep grief, sadness, fury, rage, right? Can welcome anything and everything that is arising à cause de la screen, because of the screen, right? So this rooted knowing doesn't identify, doesn't get stirred, or we could say, doesn't identify with the feeling of being stirred. There's this illuminating presence that sees, oh, there's a trigger, there's a charge. There's something that wants attention here, right? And it allows this process to open in a very impersonal way, while allowing the intensely personal feelings to come forward and be held in this incredible embrace, right? This embrace that holds, right? This posture here is very deeply resting. Maybe you already know this, but it's you hold one hand on your cheek and you hold here. It's deeply calming for the nervous system. It's just popping forward, so why not share it, right? Here it is. Of course, you can bring your arms, but this is a deeply holding posture for calming the sense of the charge and the stress and the flying around of the nervous system, right? Having the hand on the cheek and the other arm kind of holding like a tight, almost like a hug, right? When there is a sense of those very deep personal feelings arising that feel very intense, they want something, they want to be held. And of course, the holding of the true safety is here. The holding of love is here. But sometimes that physicality, that sense of the physicality, it's regulating, right? It just brings a regulating sense of boom, just settling. that actually allows whatever feelings are coming forward to come forward. Mm-hmm. Mm. It's like a feeling of being swaddled or something, right? So it brings a young feeling of a tight kind of holding. So essentially, this moment now, the presence, the openness, the wholeness. The wholeness includes everything. The wholeness is such an integral, welcoming presence. It is purity. It is divinity. It is the glorious luminance. And the remembrance of this truth is alive. The knowing is here. And yes, as we open to this resonance of remembrance, the moths come to the flame of the luminous radiance heart. And everything is welcomed, everything is allowed. Nothing disturbs this wholeness. And it is just to recognize that nothing disturbs the wholeness. Whatever is happening, whatever is coming forward, there's such an open allowing. Now, of course, there are many subtleties to the things that can come forward. And this is where we will come together for interactions to bring forward. And if there is anything that wants to be shared, of course, this will too be given the spaciousness. But recognize, even if there are things that are coming forward, can you feel the presence of being that is not touched? Can you feel the wholeness? In whichever way it feels true, can you feel the power of your own knowing? Can you feel the resting, the silence, the stillness, the presence of being? Bringing the power back to really remember the light that you are in truth. That we have to unfold through whatever we have to move through. Life brings in whatever we need. And we have the capacity to receive and transmute everything when we are turned to the remembrance of our wholeness. When we are in remembrance, we have the power and capacity for purification to meet in our internal functioning everything that has learnt to divide. And we have this power and capacity to allow the unwinding of anything and everything. And it has to happen within our internal functioning so that the remembrance of wholeness let's say, is known, right? The power is fully aligned. right? That it doesn't come from outside, that in a way, the external, however that plays as life, as tools, as techniques, as practices, it is always offering us the possibility to cherry pick and really move from this internal knowing of integrity and keep resting in the knowing of this truth. That the play of the human life is really to bring forward, to be the embodied emanation of the knowing of this wholeness, to, in a way, be the living expression of your deepest integrity, right? To be the living expression of your deepest knowing, right on the surface of life. This is how we bring the love and the light to the surface of life. So when we speak of being, so we've spoken this weekend of being the saviors, of seemingly the saviors of the world. But what that really means is that we save the only thing you can save, which is yourself. And the saving of yourself is the saving of the world. Now, of course, that doesn't really make any sense, but the saving of yourself is the remembrance that salvation is in your heart, that you are integrally whole. So the saving of yourself is the giving up of the idea of saving yourself, fixing yourself, and recognizing that you are saved, that you are the light of salvation. You are the integral wholeness, the radiance, the power, and the glory. And how does that translate to how do we then save the world? Of course, we know the world is a creation of the mind. To know yourself, you are free of the mind. You're free of the entanglement in the collective. But your resonant reverberations of the remembrance of wholeness, your living expression of this integrity on the surface, and really your ability, we could say then, in the human life to be the light in this play of the world, to be a loving presence, to be love, to embody this love, allows these reverberations to shift and support the whole collective in service. So that's what we mean. Words can be tricky, and we don't really want to dwell on words or get pernickety and petty around words, because we do our best and we know the truth of what we are, and yet we're living this human expression on the surface of life. And words and their multiple meanings and different nuances and the semantics are all part of that play. So it's not to get stuck anywhere, but to bring everything that is shared into your internal functioning and to really feel where the resonance of truth is, the resonance of alignment is. Let it only enliven what you know to be true, and let the rest float on by, right? This is all about you remembering and resting in the deepest possible power and integrity of your own wholeness, and being the living expression of this, and also being the purity that allows the purification of any residues to happen. And of course, that purification is wider. It's the purification of the environment, purification of anything and everything that is discordant. And as we come to remember the impersonal nature of it all, as our more personal, intense feelings soften out, right? We are purifying anything that feels like a trigger or a charge, anything that feels discordant. What we can find is that sometimes it feels like a trigger that feels personal. And as we meet the feelings, it just segues out. And there's a recognition, oh, okay, that you start to see the micro and the macro happening all at once. Because essentially humanity is, separation is the core belief that I am not good. I have done something wrong. And the whole collective consciousness is moving as this. So where that is seen on the screen, we don't engage and try and fix it. We rest in the remembrance of what is true, because this truth is true for all beings. We realize that story is not reality. There is no separation. So this is where we would speak here, save yourself and save the world. Save yourself. Bring yourself out of the delusion, out of the story, out of the misunderstanding. Come to the resonance of what you already know to be true, and really feel the power and alignment. Allow the transmutation and purification, refinement to happen very naturally, but keep resting in this integrity, so that as you are resting in this integrity, there is an allowing of that to surface and shine, so that life is a living reality. You're living this reality right on the surface. You're not living in the distorted world. You're living this reality. You can see and receive threads of that distortion, because in our humanity, we never are completely 100% unplugged from it. We can't be. Our whole reason for being here is that we have to keep some threads, just a few fine threads, so that those threads can be used for the reverberations to affect the whole. And so the sense of the human life always has a sense of the human life, but our deepest knowing is the reality. We're living in the reality. We know eternity. We know the eternal life. We know this life is finite, temporary. We know the body and the mind is not who we are. We're living as the eternal silence right here on the surface of life. So resting here and just noticing what is being noticed, allowing all that is here to be here, allowing all that is here to be here, to recognize the presence of being that is untouched and open, welcoming, allowing that the wholeness is what truly welcomes. The wholeness is what brings the wholehearted welcome to these places, where there's truly no agenda, truly no judgment, no pushing away. That really it's almost as if this voice says to these places that are like children, it's like the parent really just saying, oh, precious one, you are so welcome here. Precious heart, you have never done anything wrong. You have lived your life believing that, but that has never been the truth. You have always been one with love. You have always been pure innocent, divine. This is the true essence nature of all beings. You can know this and remember this right here now, here in the depths of the silence, in the depths. There is a knowing here that knows that you are beauty, you are perfection, you are radiant wholeness. Whatever story you have lived out, thank you. Thank you for being the consciousness that has danced in the ways that you have danced. Thank you for dancing in the play of limitation. Thank you. Can you now feel the compassion and the light that sees through the beliefs and the protections? Can you feel the compassion that has always been holding it all? You can let go of that story. You can let go of the limitation that once felt like it kept you safe. You can let go of all of those beliefs and conditions. And you can now truly live this radiance. You can truly be yourself. You can let go into the remembrance of an integrity that has always been whole. You can remember here in the fine frequencies, in the silence, in the stillness. You can remember this truth. Just stop. Just be here. Feel the resonance of remembrance. Feel the truth of who you are. Let all the threads of story naturally untangle the beliefs and the protections that seem like they have kept you safe. This moment is the moment to let it all go. You don't need to vigilantly hold on to ideas of false safety. You don't need the misunderstanding of separation. The greatest longing is to remember. And so here now, in the stillness, in the silence, remember. Remember this peace and openness. Remember this joy that is without cause. Remember the awe and wonder of just not knowing and yet being spontaneously surprised. Remember the beauty and integrity of your heart that is one with all that is. Remember, you are not divided. Remember, this truth is the wordless silence of the heart. And where this remembrance sparks the fine, subtle perception right here in this moment, recognize your own brilliance, your own radiance. recognize your own luminosity, the light that you are, that has never been dimmed, and shine, shine.